every time you dance for joy.
Welcome to Sensible Secondhand Reviews, the series where mostly we look at practical and sensible cars you can buy for a budget between £1,000 and £5,000. But sometimes we make a mistake and we think a car we're going to drive is within budget and it is not. This is a 2020 Vauxhall Grandland 1.2 turbo elite nav. But is it any good? Should you care? Let's find out, shall we? So the Vauxhall Grandland X came out in 2018, and it was one of the first collaborations between what was General Motors Europe, Opel and Vauxhall, and Peugeot, Citroën, PSA. It actually has the design language from something like Insignia B or an Astra K, which is all General Motors' own work. But it's about 2012 apparently they decided to go into partnership together and build a platform for an SUV, which later came out of things like the Citroën C5 Aircross and the Peugeot 3008 and this Grandland X. Renamed in 2021 just the Vauxhall Grandland, and had the sort of newer Vauxhall corporate look about it with a visor grill on it. I don't know whether I prefer that or not, to be honest. Right, let's just turn around here and we'll see what this car will do in terms of 0 to 60 time. Right, Vauxhall say that this particular car will do 0 to 60 in 9.5 seconds. You can tell it's a 3-cylinder engine, this with 1.2. Not only can you feel the vibration through the clutch pedal, it's just got that sort of thrum to it. It doesn't seem to have a lot of torque. I mean, the 2018 Hyundai Tucson that I drove earlier on today, that had about the same power. This is about 129 horsepower to about 132, I think. And that apparently is 0 to 60 in sort of over 11 seconds, but this doesn't feel as fast. I don't know why. Maybe I'd have to thrash it like crazy, but that's not really what one of these is about. The ride is nice and compliant and a bit sort of soft. I don't think this is set up for sporty driving at all. I think it's supposed to be comfortable, which is fine. It's an SUV for family, so that's really what it should be. But it's just a little bit sort of wet. That's how it feels. Obviously, you can get more powerful engines than that. You can get a 1.6 plug-in hybrid with two-wheel drive with 221 horsepower, and a 1.6 plug-in hybrid with four-wheel drive with 295 horsepower. There are also some diesels available, but as usual, due to controversial government legislation and all kinds of other reasons, we don't talk about diesels on this channel. So, yeah, the whole sort of feeling of this car is it's nice and soft, the ride's quite good, steering, it's a little bit light, but it's in most modern cars. The 3-cylinder is a little bit noisy, but then there are 3 cylinders in lots of other cars like this, for example Volkswagen Group cars, so that's fine. Gearbox is nice enough. It's not as clunky as some of the older Vauxhall gearboxes. It's alright. This doesn't really inspire me particularly driving this car. I felt far better driving the Tucson than I'd also driven the Seat Ateca earlier on today, and that, again, it had a 6-speed manual and a little turbo engine, and that also felt just a bit more punchy, about 20 horsepower more than this, but I don't know, it just doesn't feel like we've got a lot of torque going on here, and that's just a bit disconcerting. Interesting having this Grandland X here, because it just represents an era of Vauxhall that is totally lost now. When this car was being developed, it was always intended to be on a PSA platform, the same as things like the Peugeot 3008. But it was only in 2017-18 that PSA bought Opel Vauxhall, and actually this car was launched in 2018, so it came out after the takeover happened, but that wasn't always on the cards. So although it's very similar underneath, a lot of Peugeots and Citroens and things like that, the design language is very much of the sort of era of the Astra K that came out in 2015, which is fine. I like the Astra K very much. I'm surprised I've not actually had one on the channel yet, or the J. Must remedy it at some point, but this is a 2020 car. In 2021 the car was renamed just for Grandland. They'd removed the X, and they put the what called the visor front end on the car, which is sort of similar to things like the Mocha and various other models that they're doing now. I think the Crossland got that as well. So boot is on this 1.2 petrol car is really big. They go Ecotech, the sort of old name that is probably now lost, that Vauxhall used to badge a lot of their engines from the 1990s actually. No reversing camera on this car. We have got some parking sensors though. The boot is actually really big on this car. We've got the standard one, so it's 510 litres. The plug-in hybrid models are about 380, so they're much smaller than this. Got adjustable height boot floor, which should be having a spare wheel in there. That's probably somewhere at some point. Plenty of places to put stuff. We've got levers in the back for folding the rear seats, 12-volt socket, some metal tie-down hooks for whatever you want to put in there. They're useful for things like I don't know, like cameras and things like that, if you are recording out the back of the tailgate open and stuff like that, which some people do, although we don't have such luxuries on this channel. I think you get electric tailgate in some of these. Obviously this one you don't have that, which is fine. Most people don't need an electric tailgate probably, so that's okay. Yeah, parking sensor like a standard all models, which is just as well because the rear window is quite small on this. One thing I appreciate is the doors actually do cover the sills, so you don't get, you know, muddy legs when getting in and out. You can see here we've actually got my Mi-Fi plugged in, which is using that little USB port there. We'll go around the other side actually, that might be easier. Nice amount of space in here actually. Similar to the Hyundai Tucson and the Kia Sportage that were both on sale about this time. Which would have been the QL and TL. Got some vents here. We've got some small mat pockets, which is good. We've got some door bins. We've got a tiny bit of fabric on this section here, which is good because the rest of it's hard plastic, but that's actually quite normal. We've also got, very nice, we've got a panoramic roof. I better open the shade at some point of that. That's good. Rear courtesy light, yeah, it's not an LED one, so you can just see the age of the design by that. And then we've got some very lovely cup holders with a squeaky armrest in it, and also we've got a ski hatch, like on an old Cavalier. Oh, it's not the best quality though, that's a shame. Never mind. Yeah, the dashboard looks just like an Astra K. It's really strange. Obviously these days Vauxhall dashes are a bit different, but yeah, this is just like the old days was, and that's not a bad thing at all. It reminds me also of the Insignia B, if you remember that, and also I think the steering was very similar to a Corsa E. So definitely just the older sort of General Motors kind of inspired stuff here. And actually you can see there's a tiny little GM logo just in that window there. Although General Motors had nothing to do with the car by the time it was made in 2020. Right, well, it's nice and comfortable, there's plenty of room. We'll open up that panoramic sunroof and we will have a look in the front. So, excellent doors covering the sills, you can see all the way down there. Big door bins. Nice fabric. Soft touch door tops, which I suppose some of you aren't bothered about, but there we go. I think those are the same electric window switches and mirror switches in a Peugeot 2008 or something. Not surprising though, that's fine. Right, and we just pause a second here while I shut the door. So, automatic lights. I mean, that switches straight over an Astra J actually. Automatic wipers. Heated steering wheel. Got section down here that's damned. You can put USB devices in there, 12-volt socket, automatic climate control, tyre pressure monitoring, lane keeping assistance, auto stop start, 6-speed manual gearbox. Unfortunately, you've got an electronic handbrake in this car, viewers, and I don't like electronic handbrakes, I have to say, but never mind. I just noticed you've got high beam assist as well here, auto high beam. A very, very, very small hazard light switch, hopefully you won't need that, and a very, very small door locking button. Let's see actually if we can open this panoramic roof. We probably don't need the key for that, but yeah, we'll give it a go. Where? There's obviously a button to open that shade somewhere. Let's have a look for that, and we'll come back to you in a moment. Yes, that's better, viewers. That's much better. Turn the engine off. You don't actually need to push the clutch to start the car, which is unusual these days. Yeah, let's actually turn that back on. Just don't run it. There we go. Style sweep, very nice. Little Vauxhall logo, profile things. Bit slow, this touchscreen, isn't it? Really slow. Yeah, I know the fuel level's low. How do we just get out of this? Is there sort of another way of doing something? Right, good. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. That makes sense. Driving functions, sort of blind spot detection. Okay, that's all. Is that all the driving functions we can play with? Is that all of them? Wow, it's not many. Vehicle access, safety, comfort, blah blah blah. Gosh, this is laggy, laggy, laggy. Yeah, follow me home, lighting, welcome, lighting, mood lighting, safety, active safety brake. Yeah, mirror adaptation in reverse. What the heck is mirror adaptation in reverse? Does that just mean the left-hand mirror tilts? Rear wiper in reverse. Actually, we should put that on, shouldn't we? I'll just put that on for the next person. There we go, because I'm a kind person. Yeah, driver attention warning, turn that off. Okay, right. Press this button again. This menu's, it's not very good. It's not very good at all, actually, this. It's a bit confusing. I thought this is like the sort of main menu, but it's not. And that's not the main menu. So where is the main menu? Not very good at all. There's the sat-nav, but you'd be using Android Auto, Apple CarPlay anyway. Audio, we'll leave that. Heated seats. Which one's the fan speed? Don't tell me I have to go into the climate control things on there to do it. No, there's this tiny thing there. Tiny little fan speed there. That's alright then. Excellent. So yeah, we've got some cup holders down here. A little tray thing. Can you like move this little tray thing around, or does it just sit there? So just leave it there. Don't break anything. We've got a big place to store. That would hold like a 2-litre bottle of water, wouldn't it? And the door bins are quite big as well. They are quite big. Can I get my... Oh my gosh, no way! Oh no! This is PSA's revenge. They haven't moved the fuse box from left to right hand drive, so it sits there. That means you've got no space for anything. You've got no space at all. The manual barely goes in. That's dreadful. No. I don't know what it is about PSA and their sort of revenge on people in this country with right hand drive, but there we go. Let's take a very brief look at this sort of little screen here. Can we scroll up and down through here? Actually, that one does the radio preset. Is there some kind of other sort of function on here? Is it like that? Oh yeah, it's this thing. That's weird, isn't it? Okay, so there's all this sort of information that you sort of need, but I don't know why it has to be on there. I mean, why that can't be the control for it, but never mind, it's not too bad. We've actually got proper dials in here as well, as opposed to everything these days which seems to have digital ones. And yeah, the quality actually seems quite good. It's no more interesting or less interesting than anything else, like a Kia Sportage or a I don't know, Tucson, or maybe even a Tekka of this sort of trim level, or a Skoda Karoq, sort of the same really. But I like the fact we've got this sort of stitching on here, though it's sort of fake. Gearbox I'm not sure is the best, but this car has 50,000 miles, so it won't feel new, will it? Right, I suppose you'd better take a look under the bonnet, viewers. Got some very familiar looking all filler caps and other accessories in here, because this is a PSA engine. It's the 1.2 PureTech 3-cylinder with 129 horsepower. Little turbo in here as well. Now, before you all start screaming at me, yes, it is a wet belt engine, and yes, you've got to be aware of it, because there are actually recorded incidents of people who haven't done the cam belt on a PureTech engine, a wet belt, and the cam belts have actually snapped. So don't do that, viewers, because otherwise you're going to need a new engine. So I would not advise doing that. Comparatively speaking, though, if this is one of the more simpler engine bays you'll find, because we've got, further up the range, you've got the two 1.6 plug-in hybrid models, one with two-wheel drive, one with four-wheel drive. So actually this is probably in some ways is cheaper and better, but just keep an eye on the wet belt. In fact, we're going to have a wet belt alert now. Just found out we've got ventilated seats in this car. That's nice, viewers. I like ventilated seats. I'll turn it off though now, because I don't need either of them. Yeah, just sort of pootling along in town. This car's absolutely fine. It does everything that you really expect a sort of modern family-orientated car to do. It just doesn't feel like there's any kind of, I don't know, response or kind of soul built into it. Whereas some SUVs just have that kind of feel about them. Even some of the cheaper ones actually as well. Yeah, I mean it's riding pretty well, being comfortable on a long journey. I'm sure actually this engine's probably quite economical if you don't thrash it. It's just not particularly exciting me. Like a lot of Vauxhalls I've driven recently, a bit like that. They just feel a bit sort of ordinary, really. Vauxhalls used to actually be quite good to drive in general. The Astra J's are pretty good, to be honest, and you know, Corsaries are pretty good. This just doesn't feel like that. It's not a problem necessarily. It depends what you want, but there are just quite a lot of cars I think I would prefer to drive in this class than this one. Let's now look at some Vauxhall Grandland X trim levels. We could look at the later, just normal Grandland trim levels, but there's so many of these that we might as well just stick to the pre-facelift cars. So the SE, the SE Nav, the SE Premium, the Design Line, the Sport Nav, the SRI Nav, the Tech Line Nav, the Elite Nav, like this car, the Elite Nav Premium, the Business Edition Nav, the Business Edition Nav Premium, the Griffin Edition, the Ultimate, and the Ultimate Nav. So viewers, should you consider a Vauxhall Grandland X for your hard-earned budget of a bit more than £5,000? I suppose so. I mean, you've got to make sure that you check that wet belt, but apart from that, it's not necessarily the most dynamic car I've ever driven, but it's also very pleasant. It feels like it occupies, you know, a good niche in the market. You know, there's not much more to say really. I imagine the plug-in hybrid models with all their power are a bit more interesting than this, but this will be what most people need, so it's sold reasonably well. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment below, and we will see you again soon for some more, hopefully a bit more reasonably priced motoring.